All of the tools that are incorporated in this video is going to be free. You do not need a lot of money. You do not need a lot of resources. These are all things that you can do by yourself if you put forth the effort to get better. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be giving you 5 free tools to cure your PTSD, your anxiety, and your depression. Many people suffer from anxiety and depression, especially nowadays without COVID and everything that's going on in the world. Personally, I suffer from PTSD and bipolar disorder. I was given those diagnoses first when I was 16 years old and then again when I was 21 years old. All of the tools that are incorporated in this video is going to be free. You do not need a lot of money. You do not need a lot of resources. These are all things that you can do by yourself if you put forth the effort to get better. Now, first on the list is going to be the most important, and that is building a credit list. Write it down in your journal, write it down in your phone, write it down on your computer, but at least once a day, every day, you should be making a checklist of things that you should give yourself credit for throughout the day. Whether that means brushing your teeth, whether that means washing your hair, or taking a shower, or going to work, or cleaning up. Very simple things that can make you feel good about your day and boost your confidence and your esteem. It gives you a goal that you can accomplish. It gives you something that you can check off and say, hey, I did that for the day, even though I'm facing all of these challenges. That's very important, guys. I listed it number 1 because everyone usually feels like they don't do enough with mental health issues or that they could have did things differently. And when you make a checklist and you can look at that list and say, hey, I did all of these things throughout these challenges, it gives you a sense of wholesomeness, it gives you a sense of satisfaction, and it's very fulfilling for people who are very hard on themselves. Tip number 2 would be to create a crisis plan. A crisis plan is something that you put in order when you are in crisis. If you don't know what crisis means, that means when you are at your wit's end, you don't know what to do, you're very overwhelmed, you're having a panic attack or super depressed, that's called crisis. That mode, that state of mind is called crisis. Creating a crisis plan are steps that you put in order so that way when you are in crisis, there are things that you can follow that will help you get out of that mode. When creating a crisis plan, you can include people that you can call, that you can talk to. You can rely on your support groups such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They have mental health crisis groups that you can join to talk to other people. If you don't feel comfortable talking to someone in your personal life, you can meet someone that you don't know personally that can listen to you or can relate to things that you're going through. That can be a very humbling experience for someone who has mental health issues. Another thing in your crisis plan could be going to the gym. Taking action, okay? My depression wants me to lay in the bed all day and not do anything, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out. Or I'm going to go call a friend and talk and speak with them and socialize. That's a crisis plan. You can also include your therapist on your crisis plan. If you have a hotline that you can call, you can talk to and vent to, that's always very helpful as well. Tip number 3 is going to be a rubber band. This is big for people with anxiety. Anyone who has anxiety knows that it's very overwhelming and it can kind of take over your whole world at a point in time. So in order to snap you back to reality, you can carry a rubber band on your wrist. And you snap it, not too much to the point that it hurts. The purpose of it is to bring you back to reality and not branch off into your delusion, overthinking. Using a rubber band helps a lot of people with anxiety. It kind of just gives you a distraction. It gives you something to fiddle with your hands. And it also gives you like a little stinging sensation, which can calm you down from those high energy, high anxiety states. While I'm doing this rubber band method, I'm also saying mantras in my head to replace the negative thoughts that are circulating in my mind. I'll say, I'm loved, I'm valued, I'm important, I'm beautiful, whatever it is. Make it personal to you, to whatever you need to think at the time. Often I will say, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, because my PTSD will make me think I'm unsafe in environments where I actually am safe. Number 4 is a little subjective. A lot of people have different opinions on it, but my 4th tip to you would be to use your as needed anxiety medicines when you need them. There's something called a PRN, which is as needed, and it's for anxiety. So if you know you're going to go to a family event or you know that you're going to go to the mall, a very populated area, or you're going to school or you're going to work, taking your anxiety medicine possibly 30 minutes before you go is going to make your nerves calmer, is going to make it easier to use your other tools such as your rubber band, such as interacting with other people and being social with your friends, with your family, whether it be with your coworker. It definitely dials down the tenseness of the situation. If anyone who suffers from PTSD, you know what I'm talking about. It's a very tense situation because you don't know if you're safe, if you're not safe, because your feelings are telling you safe, but your mind is telling you that you're okay. So take your medicine as needed. If you can, go to your therapist or your psychiatrist and ask about as needed anxiety medicine. There are plenty that are non-addictive. There's plenty that have dual effects. I know I'm on a allergy medication which has a side effect of being calming. So I take an allergy medicine prescribed that helps me with my anxiety, so it's non-addictive. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, the very last and not least, is going to be, I call it oppositional reinforcement. I don't know if that's really the name, I kind of just made it up, but basically it's doing the opposite of what your mind is telling you to do. This is very important because your brain can give you very sick thoughts and very negative thoughts, and if you feed into that, it's just going to make you lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. So do the opposite of what your mind is telling you to do. For example, if there's dishes in the sink and your depression is kicking your butt and it's telling you that you can't get up and do the dishes, but you know if you lay in the bed for the next 2 hours, all you're going to be thinking about is the dishes, try to force yourself, get in the habit of creating new habits of doing the opposite of what you don't want to do. So if you don't want to do the dishes, that should be motivation to get up and do the dishes so that you can cut the anxiety and the hyperfixation of these thoughts. Another example could be if you don't want to go out and socialize, or if you don't want to go out and see your family. That's a big fear for a lot of people with anxiety and PTSD. And depression, of course, but mainly anxiety and PTSD. The most anxiety you get is before the actual action happens. Before the event, you have a lot of anxiety until you get there, and then you're actually having a good time. If you don't want to go out and socialize, you got to get your butt up, do the work, and go out and do exactly what you don't want to do. Once you create that habit, it's going to get a lot easier to deal with the mental illness. You'll be able to manage it a lot better when you make it a habit of doing things that you don't want to do. If anyone's suffering from PTSD, anxiety, or any mental illness, I'll link my social medias down below where you can contact me. There are several support groups online. There are several support groups on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. If you don't have social media, I really recommend reaching out to your friends and your family if you are struggling with these problems. It's not good and it's not safe to keep all of these things bottled up. I hope that you guys can use these to basically cure your mental illness and live a better quality of life. These are my 5 tips for today. If you incorporate all of these steps, I guarantee you'll live a better quality of life. Let me know if you've tried out these tips or if you've ever heard of them. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below to let me know if you liked this video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe.